Welcome, dear children, to our channel. This is a channel dedicated to you. Several times a week I will publish good night stories. Hopefully you have a good feet and have already flown and wait for the story of impatience. Tonight I'm gonna tell you a story about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs story. Once upon a time, a princess named Snow White lived in a castle with her father, the king, and her stepmother, the queen. Her father had always said to the daughter that she must be fair to everyone at court. Said he, people come here to the castle when they have a problem. They need the rules to make a fair occasion. Nothing is more important than to be fair. The queen, Snow White's stepmother, knew how much this went to her husband. At the first chance she went to her magic mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, said the queen, who is the fairest of them all? Snow White is the fairest of them all, said the magic mirror. What? Yellowed the queen. No one is more fair than I. The queen must have the best of everything. Everyone knows that. What could be more fair than that? Snow White is the fairest of them all, repeated the magic mirror. What do you know? You are a mirror, reared the queen, and she stormed off. Still, the queen was bothered. So bothered was she that the queen decided to be rid of the girl once and for all. I cannot wait another day, she declared. The queen called for her servant, a huntsman. Find a reason to take Snow White deep into the wood, she said, pointing her long finger at the servant. Then kill her. The huntsman was shocked, but she was the queen, and what could he do? The next day he took Snow White into the wood. As he drew his knife to slay her, Snow White turned around. Look, she said, taking something out of her pocket. You have always been so good to me. She hid in from him 6 perfect arrowwords that she had carefully shaped. Do you like them? She said. They are for you. Snow White said the huntsman. I cannot do this. Do what? Said Snow White. The servant dropped his knife. The queen, your stepmother, ordered me to kill you, he said, but I can't. She did what? Snow White called out with alarm. You must run away, said the huntsman, for into the woods now, and never come back to the castle. Snow White turned and ran in the woods as fast as she could. Deep and deep she ran. It was getting dark, and the wolves were starting to howl. She tried, and her skirt was torn. Tell tree branch seemed to reach down to the very ground to grab her. She was scared, blinding, and scratched, yet she ran on and ran. Then, all of a sudden, in the distance, there was a light. Who was living so deep in the wood? She stepped up closer and saw that it was cottage. Yet no sound came from the cottage, only light from the woods. Hello, she said, knocking softly on the door. Hello, no answer. The door was already a little bit open. She opened it some more and stepped in. Hello, is anyone home? She looked around. What a mess! She had never seen a messy living room. This cottage may be the biggest mess I ever saw. she threw, but it is the roof over my head for tonight. Maybe if I clean it up around here, I can earn my sleep. As she cleaned it, she threw off something she already missed. Before her father he had remarried, she and Prince, who live in the next kingdom, were enjoy getting to know each other. They would take long walks in royal garden and tell each other stories and laugh. After the queen had moved into the castle, his stepmother had made a new rule: no more visitors. Now the prince had to sleep over the place, get in secret. He wouldn't call out to her from under her window, and they couldn't talk a bit that way. It wasn't so good as the long walks, but it was the best they could manage. How that she had run away from home! Would she ever see him again? After Snow White cleaning up the living room, she went upstairs. On the second floor, there were 7 little beds lined up in a row, as if for children. Trifle cleaning Snow White on and lay across the 7 of the beds. Soon she fell fast asleep. In the meantime, the 7 dwarfs were heading home from a long day working in the jolly mines. When they opened the door, you can imagine their surprise when they saw their cottage all cleaned up. "What kind of magic is this?" said the one dwarf, whose name was Doc. "I wouldn't mind more magic like this," said another of dwarf with a smile. His name was Doppy. "We'd better check upstairs," said another dwarf, whose name was Grumpy. "Something is fashionably around here, that's for sure." There, lying across all their beds, was a young lady fast asleep. "Who are you?" said the dwarf at once. Snow White bolted away. The 7 dwarfs could tell she was unsurprised as they were. Soon they all relaxed and shared their stories. Snow White learned their names: Bashful, Doc, Duppy, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, and Sneezy. She told them all about her stepmother, that her stepmother had tried to get the hitman to kill her, that the huntsman had set her free in woods, and that she could never go back home again. "Stay there with us," said Bashful. "That's sweet," said Snow White. "But if I were to stay here at your home, I would have to go something for you, for all you." "You already cleaning up our place," said Sneezy. "Keeping the house clean will be easy," said Snow White, "as long as we will all pitch in. I will let everyone know what part they can do, and I will do my share too, of course." "That's fair," said Happy. "But there must be something else I can do for you," said Snow White. The 7 dwarfs suggest. "Do you know how to read?" said Doc. "We have this book filled with wonderful tales and would love to be able to read them." And so it was agreed that Snow White would give them reading lesson to celebrate the new friendship. Snow White and the Snow Dwarf sang and danced the night away. The next morning, before they left for work, the 7 dwarfs warned Snow White. She must not open the door to anyone. After all, who knows what evil her stepmother made to do? The princess nodded in agreement, and the dwarf left the house. The princess prepared her first reading lesson. She also prepared a good hot meal for the seven dwarfs. When they returned home that night, and so the days passed. Back at the castle, the queen marched up to her mirror. "Mirror, mirror on the wall," she demanded, "who is the fairest of them all?" "Snow White is the fairest of them all," said the magic mirror. "That's impossible!" screamed the queen. "The girl is no longer alive." "Snow White lives," said the magic mirror, and unimagined was snow of the mirror of Snow White living in the cottage of the seven dwarfs. The queen turned red with rage. She screamed, "She will not get away with this." At the cottage of the wall the next afternoon, when the seven dwarfs were away at work, there was a knocking on the door. "Who is it?" said Snow White. She remembered the warning of seven dwarfs, not to open the door to anyone. "It's only a poor old woman," came a quickly voice, "selling apples." Yet it was the evil queen, disguised as an old woman. "It's raining out there. Here, my dear," said her voice through the door. "Please let me in." "Poor thing," thought Snow White, "having to go door to the doors selling apple in this rain." And so she opened the door. "Take a look at this big red apple," said the old woman, who, as know by now, was really the queen in distress. She held the red apple close to Snow White's face. "Lovely, my dear, isn't?" "I would like very much to buy your apple," said Snow White, "but I don't have money." "That's fine. Comb in your hair will make a good try," said the old woman. "Well, all right then," said Snow White. She took the comb out of their hair and gave it to the old woman, who then gave her the apple. Snow White took a big bite. Alas, the fruit was poisoned. At once Snow fell to the ground in a deep sleep. "Yes," shouted the queen, pumping the air with her fist. Just then the door flew open. In marched the seven dwarfs, come from the dark day's work. Shocked in there they were to find Snow White lying on the floor and what must be her stepmother beside her, laughing. They chased the evil queen out of door and into the storm. Up to the very top of the mountain there chased her. All of thunder lightning hissed the mountain. The queen fell, and she was never seen again. But there was nothing to help poor Snow White. She stayed absolutely still in her deep sleep. The seven dwarfs gently lifted her into a glass coffin. Day and night they keep watch over her. One day the prince happened to pass through. Ever since he had learned that Snow White was missing at the castle, he was searching for her far and wide. Now he had finally found her, but in such a state. The prince pulled open the glass coffin. Her face seemed so fresh, even in that deep sleep. He gently took one of Snow White's hands in his own and kissed it. At once Snow White's eyes opened. With love's first kiss, the evil queen's spell was forever gone. Now nothing stopping the way for Snow White and the prince to be together forever. They returned to the kingdom and lived happily ever after. Thank you for listening my story for the night. And remember, do not open the doors to strangers ever. If you like this video, make sure you like it and subscribe on our channel. If you have any special desire to read your favorite story, write to me under this video in comment or to mail. See the description on the video address. To the next video, sleep well and listen spoken soft our stories for good night. Good night.